Now let's take a look at exclusions and reservations. Now these are two ideas or two techniques that you can use in DHCP that you will most definitely see on the exam in one form or another, and you will use them in the real world quite a bit as well. And let's tackle the exclusion first. Let's say that within this range of addresses that we've already set up, 168.192.2.20 and 168.192.2.65 is the top end of that range, which means we have 45 addresses in a range here that we can hand out via DHCP. Well, let's say that 2.25 is the IP address that we have manually statically assigned to a server, and we don't want anybody to ever be handed that address. So what we can do is on the address pool, right click and do a new exclusion range. Now notice we can do an entire range. If you read this right here, it says type the IP address range that you want to exclude. If you want to just do a single address, then type an address in the start IP address only. So if I do 168.192.2.25 and click add, you will notice that I have just excluded that. So it will give 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, skip 25, go to 26, and go all the way up to 65. This one will never be given out. Now that's an exclusion that says don't give this one out of this group. Now a reservation is another situation. Let's say that 2.26 is one that we always want a server to have. Now with a reservation, kind of think automated static assignment, because the same machine is going to always get that IP address. So the question becomes, well, why wouldn't I do that instead of manually assigning any machines? And the problem there is that the point in which in the boot process on the machine that the address gets assigned can be problems with certain infrastructure servers, DNS servers, and some others, and so you can't get away with that. So some servers are just going to require that you have a static IP address that's there as soon as the machine starts up, and it doesn't have to go through the process of acquiring a DHCP type connection and then a configuration. So let's look at how to do a reservation. If we come down to reservations and we right click and we say new reservation, we're going to have to give it a name, and we'll just call this member server 01, and we're going to set the IP address. Notice it sees what subnet we're in, and I'll just do 192.26, and now we'll have to actually put the MAC address of the computer. Okay, and you can go out and do ipconfig all, and you can get the MAC address for that computer, and it's going to be something like F08B, and it'll go on and on and on, and we're just going to go with this for right now. It's not a complete MAC address, but we would have to put it. Okay, and it won't work unless you have the MAC address correct, so you have to be very careful here. And I can put a description here, and notice we have supported types. If you know what these are, okay. If you don't worry about it here. Now I will click add, and notice it's warning me here the unique identifier, and it's interesting that they're interchanging these terms. The unique identifier and the MAC address are the same thing. You have entered may not be correct. Do you want to continue to use this? And in this case, yes, we do. And then I close this, and you will notice that I now have a reservation in here for 2.26. 2.26, or that 26 host ID, will never be given to any machine unless the MAC address matches this MAC address right here that I put in. And again, that MAC address is going to be considerably longer than that in the real world. It's kind of a static address in that the same machine always gets the same address. But again, that won't work in all situations with infrastructure servers. So a lot of things like application servers, print servers, even some domain controllers can work off of reservations. You'll just have to dig and experiment a little bit with some of those. So anyway, that's exclusions and reservations. Again, go out and get your hands on this, play with it, because you will probably see a question that will require you to understand what these are to be able to figure out the correct answer to that particular exam question. So best of luck with it.